skeletons speak with such a screech. You'll shake and shudder in surprise when you hear these zombies shriek. Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul and seal your doom tonight. Spooky, scary skeletons.
Once there was a beautiful and vibrant young woman named Addison. She lived a normal life working at a local coffee shop and spending her free time with friends and family. However, little did she know, she had a stalker who had been watching her every move for months. His name was Leon. He had been following her all around town, silently watching and learning her daily routine. Soon enough, his obsession with her had grown so strong that he felt like he needed to be near her constantly. One night, Addison was doing her night shift when she noticed a figure staring at her from outside. She wasn't sure who it was because he was wearing a hoodie. She ignored it and started making a latte for the customer who was waiting in line. After the customer left, the man who had been staring at her entered the establishment and took a seat at a table towards the rear. He didn't order anything or use his mobile device. Instead, he just sat there, continuing to fixate on her. She was terrified. Luckily, a customer arrived which made Addison feel relieved that at least someone else was present. She attempted to ask the man for help, but he appeared completely engrossed in his phone. Eventually, the customer left and Addison was left alone with him. He then stood up from his table and walked over to her. "Hello," he said. "Hi. How can I help you?" Addison said. "Will you be?" Before he could finish his sentence, he was interrupted by a group of boys who rushed into the cafe. "Can I have an Americano?" he said in a very low voice. Addison barely heard him. She made Americao for him. He took his Americao, but this time, he sat on the table near her. She took their orders and served them their drinks. Fortunately, a group of women walked into the cafe just before the gang departed. They placed an order for various beverages such as latte, cappuccino, Americano, and espresso. Addison served them their drinks and they sat down at a table. After a while, he excused himself and went to the restroom. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Addison confided in the girls about her suspicions that the man is stalking her. The women stayed with her for the rest of her shift and even accompanied her up to her doorstep when she was done. The next day, Addison walked towards the coffee shop. She felt secure and didn't see the man around. Even when it got dark, she felt relieved that the man had disappeared. But things suddenly took a dark turn. When Addison was walking home from her night shift, she felt that someone was behind her. She ignored it and kept walking. Suddenly, Leon appeared and jumped out at her, scaring her. She was feeling uneasy, so she began to take large strides and he did the same. She started to run away, but Leon followed her, making sure she didn't get away. Addison entered her house and quickly locked the door. Leon tried to get in, but the door didn't budge. He started to cry and begged her to let him in. But she didn't open the door. Leon declared his love for her, but Addison was too afraid to accept it. She threatened to call the police, but Leon wouldn't back down. She dialed 911. But he begged her to hear him out. He started to tell her his story. He had been loving her from afar and was scared of rejection. But now, seeing her in person, he knew that she was the one for him. Addison was extremely scared when she heard a loud bang and then witnessed Leon breaking down the door. She immediately ran upstairs, but he caught her from behind and expressed her love for her. Suddenly, he heard police sirens approaching rapidly. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a gun when the officers burst in. He aimed at her and threatened to kill anyone who came near them. "Why are you doing this to me?" he shouted at her. The police desperately attempted to control him, but he wouldn't listen. "If you won't be with me, I'll kill us both." He was about to pull the trigger, when one of the officers managed to tackle him from behind. The gun fired, hitting Addison's arm. She was rushed to the hospital straight away. Leon was arrested soon after, but the trauma Addison had experienced had left lasting damage. She was haunted by nightmares and always feared that someone was watching her. No matter what path she took, Addison could never shake the feeling that Leon was still out there, still waiting for her.